I thought of you as, oh, he's this anti-war guy. And I was amazed by how, willing you were to sit there and let me talk about, money and banking. And it was clear you didn't have this inbred hostility to capitalism per se and that sort of thing. So I appreciate that. And that link is quite real.
I read Jekyll Island when I was a boy.
Yes. And I'll say this, for like the progressive listeners that you may have that think that, we're stretching just because we want to shoehorn the economics into it. But it really is the case. So just two things. One is even like among standard economists, if you say, what was the problem with the old gold standard? Like, why wouldn't we just tie the dollar back to gold? Like, wasn't, there less price inflation and stuff like that? In one of the standard stock responses, and even, I forget where he wrote this, but Milton Friedman actually said this as well at some point, in one of his pop pieces, was that, the problem with a rigid tie to gold is that, if there's a genuine national emergency, like a big war breaks out, it ties the government's hands. Okay, so that was always held up as a problem or a flaw, a bug with the thing. Whereas from our point of view, no, that's a feature. That's good. You don't want your public officials to be able to take the nation into war, if the financial system otherwise wouldn't bear it. The issue is like going into a big war, if the government could rely either on just explicit taxation of the citizenry, or even to say, hey, we can't possibly, it's too expensive, but let's borrow money. And they did it the way, a household or a corporation, if you have, big bills coming due that your current income doesn't match, that doesn't mean you can't make the purchase. It just means, you can put it on debt. But what does that mean? That somebody lends you the money and then you pay them back over time. So governments can do that too, even in a hard money, sound money world. But it means, of course, that the interest rate they have to pay is also going to be commensurate with that, because they got to get people to genuinely lend them the money. And so, like on the eve of World War I, there were a lot of people who thought this thing won't last very long because it's just too expensive, right? They're going to have their fun, shoot off their cannons. Maybe, the guys with the big navies are going to make their ships go around a little bit, but ultimately this thing will be wrapped up within a year because it's just going to be too expensive. But all the nations went off gold. Yeah, if you're against war, you should be very much against central banking, because that's what makes massive war possible.